I'm Benjamin Yap, and you're listening to Deep Cut. On Deep Cut, we compare a director's most popular film with a personal favorite chosen by one of us. We also discuss that director's life and career to bring in context to help us view their movies as they may want us to. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. Better still, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. You can also find us at deepcutpod.com to find links to our socials, Discord, and Patreon. If you've been following the podcast, you've been listening to us cover film festivals in our Dispatch episodes from around the world recently. I've just recently attended the 36th Singapore International Film Festival, which is also where I'm from, if you haven't already realized. If you haven't listened to it, we have coverage of this iteration of the festival where I cover all 14 films and programs I saw, as well as an extended commentary about the festival as a whole. During this festival, we were lucky enough to secure an interview with director Ratchapoom Boonbunchachoke for his debut feature film A Useful Ghost, which played at the festival where it also won the Special Mention Prize in the Asian Feature Film Competition. In the film, the main character Nat, played by Davika Horne, dies of dust pollution and her spirit possesses a vacuum cleaner so she can be with her husband again. In doing so, she must prove to her husband's family and business, who disapprove of their human-ghost relationship, that she can be useful so that they will accept her into their community. This was received well by the people I spoke to who were attending the festival and was also a personal highlight for me. In our interview, director Boonbunchachoke shares with us his journey developing the story and themes of his off-kilter film, his approach to trying to make something, in his words, elegantly perverted, as well as his preference for heightened artificiality in his filmmaking. This is a very fun and informative interview, providing great insight to his filmmaking process. The interview is largely spoiler-free, but you can look at the timestamps for where I've marked the sections with spoilers, especially when we talk about the film's ending. Special thanks to Momo Film Co, the Singapore co-production team for the film, for helping to coordinate with director Boonbunchachoke, as well as the SGIFF team for coordinating schedules and also providing a space for recording the interview. Without further ado, enjoy the interview. Hi everyone, I'm here with director Ratchapoom Boonbunchachoke with his film A Useful Ghost that just played at the Singapore International Film Festival, edition 36 in 2025. Very long festival name. Thanks so much for agreeing to be on this podcast and for this interview.
Yes, thank you for having me as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your film as well. I just watched it this morning and I enjoyed it. And a lot of my friends actually also really enjoyed it. So it sounds like, at least from my circle, a pretty popular film within the festival.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
how has the reception been overall? Like, you guys premiered at Cannes and like it's been a while since then.
Yeah, I think it's mostly positive. Yeah, and also there's like difference between Thai and non-Thai audiences, which is not unexpected. Yeah, because Thai, they live in the cultures that the film depicts, so they kind of knew more about the nuance and reference or something like that. But for foreigners, we were like, they have their own interpretation, and especially in Southeast Asia, I feel like the film quite resonate well with audience across Southeast Asia, the region. Yeah.
Is there anything like less Southeast Asian or less local audience was more confused by or like had more questions for?
I think some might have issue with humor that they might not understand it, and it would feel like all the jokes flatly on them, like it doesn't work for them at all. Or some might have issue with some structural choice of the film, that when the latter half of the film take an unexpected turn, that put off some audiences as well.
Interesting. I wanted to talk about, maybe to start and to like lay the land a little bit, because during the Q&A, the first thing you talked about was the idea that there's relationship between a person and a ghost.
Yeah.
And you looked at it with a sort of queer reading. And kind of seeing how people don't accept the relationship the same way they might not accept a relationship in a queer relationship. And I've heard your answer. I think just to set it up, I really like what you said during the Q&A.
Because this is my first feature, and before this I made a few short films before, and I'm generally interested in Thai history. So when I made my short films, I always look into historical figure, whether they are actual person or they are like fictional or mythical originally. And I would choose a figure and I try to reread them or subvert their value or meanings that people normally view them. And so when I made a useful ghost, I also look into legends, and there's like this very popular legend. Like I think the most famous ghost legends of the country is Menang Prakanong, which people believe that she's actually existed in Thailand in the 19th century. She's a woman who waited for her husband to return from war. Her husband was recruited to be a soldier to fight in some war. But ironically, the husband survived, but the wife died giving birth to that child. And so when the husband returned, he didn't know that his wife was already dead. But somehow like they stayed together with the spirit, with the wife's spirit. And somehow like neighbors and community, like they were not happy with them, with this human ghost relationship. So they try to break them apart or something like that. And that's the legend. And this legend like was adapted to so many times into like films, TV drama, animation, comics, even games. So it was very popular. The story itself is very popular. But I look at the legend and I drew like contemporary perspective, and I think like it's kind of queer. Actually, I found it very queer in terms that the story somehow like it's about two individuals who love each other and wants to be together, but somehow like society decide against it. And I felt that it's kind of resemble what the predicament that LGBT people must have been facing along the history, that they want to be together, they want to love each other, and somehow like society said like, oh, men should not love another man, or women should not be another woman. So I think like that somehow like draw me to the story. And also like because in Thailand we had this saying, quite a cliche, like Thailand is quite known for being LGBTQ friendly country. And we have a saying like, if you're parents of a queer child, what you would say to your child would be like, oh, you can be anything you want, you can be gay, you can be lesbian, as long as you are good, as long as you are decent, as long as you are like useful. And I always find this conditional love, conditional acceptance quite intriguing, I don't know, and fascinating, that you can be loved, you can be accepted as long as you are like useful or doing something productive. So that's how I look at the region and develop a story from that point. Yeah. If a ghost want to be accepted by society, they need to be somehow useful.
I'm curious because you feed in a lot of thematic stuff into the film from that kind of genesis, which is this ghost story.
Yeah.
You have, I guess, acceptance, but even I would say like anybody who is like any child just needs to be productive to be worthwhile, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's the conditional, as long as you're productive, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whether I, as a parent, maybe disagree with your choices, but as long as you're useful, it doesn't matter. And so I guess from that point, you kind of lead into themes about work, productivity, as well as family and I guess economics, because being productive usually is tied to some kind of economic thing. Did all these things kind of like slowly attract themselves to the story as you're developing it?
Yeah, because like when I first started the project when I first began thinking about it was in 2017. And it wasn't until like 2023 that we started shooting. So it would be like 6 years between. And slowly, the film began to form in a very unexpected and organic way, I would say. So I think lots of people ask me like how I put every element into each other, but actually I think I didn't plan it beforehand. It just slowly, gradually, each part like comes to me. So if I found that interesting and it's still stuck with me, I put it in the film. And there's a lot of things that also like showed up to me while I was like developing it, and I didn't use it in the final draft because like it might not fit in. Because normally like you have this new idea and you would be like excited for it for a day or two. And if it still excites you, you put it in. But if somehow like it's like, oh, it's not the good idea to have this, you leave it out. So yeah, so it began with a ghost story and usefulness. Yeah. Utility, the idea of like being useful, and then slowly, because like a lot of stuff just being added in the later draft about a lot of characters background just being added. Yeah, it's not in the first draft. Yeah.
Was there anything that was, in a way, as you're kind of writing and developing the story and new inspiration comes in?
Yeah.
Was there any part of the core idea that to you was the most important thing to help you decide whether something should stay or not? Because there are so many things here, but they do feel cohesive, I think, as a whole.
Even the definitions of usefulness or what the ghost could do to be useful is constantly changed from draft to draft. But I think one of the defining scenes in the film that stay from the first draft to the final one would be the scene when the ghost encounter the nurse at the hospital. And the absurdity of of the ghost need to like negotiate with the nurse that I want to visit my husband, but it's too late, you cannot visit him because like you're no longer a family member or something like that. And this absurdity of like ghosts encountering bureaucracy is somehow stay with me with the film from the first draft to the end, and it somehow like become one of the heart of the film that I feel like, oh, actually the film is about ghosts encounter bureaucracy or system. Actually goes that fight not fight against, but encounter system, and
like somebody that's outside the system encountering the system. Whether the ghost rebel against it or assimilated into it is something like that. So you have ghost versus nurse versus hospital versus monk versus police officer, something like that. So it's like gradually this ghost need to find a way to fit in or get out, something like that. Is that a kind of narrative that's popular in Thailand, like some people on the margins?
I think so, but it's mostly like a rag to rich, something like that. But we had this kind of version in a human form, like a girl or a boy from up country travel into the city, and somehow like they find themselves in like a inner circle of some elite, something like that, and they try to struggle their way up, something like that. So I think like in Thailand there's a lot of story, especially in TV or TV drama, are more like class inflected, like they're about class in the society.
I want to talk about, since we're talking about kind of the themes of the film, something that kind of comes up in the middle. I wouldn't call it a major spoiler, but you referenced the 2010 Bloody Mary Massacre, as well as the, I guess they call it the Richard protests. At the time. This is in 2010. Was it something that you felt, as somebody who like uses history a lot in your films, like was it something you wanted to put into this, or something that organically came up as you developed as well?
I think it's got organically came up. Not like I had it in mind in the beginning, but actually I don't want it to be specifically about 2010 Richard Massacre, but because actually in that moment, like the film also talk about other incidents in Thai history as well, like 1976 massacre in Thammasat University. There also like a student protest against military regime by that time, and there's like a crackdown at that year. So actually it's not, because I don't want a film to be about 2010 massacre or about specifically about one incident. I want it to be more about like the modern history, more about like the victims in the Thai modern history, but not particularly like about one incident or another, something like that. So I want to have this like a general, in the whole, not whole like, but most of the history, not about specifically one incident or not.
I think something that a lot of people that have really liked the film kind of take away from it is that, yes, like I think the core idea that it's about a ghost fighting bureaucracy is one thing. Then the thing that people seem to take away a lot from it is the idea of it resisting the erasure of like history, and like, and in a way the film is about how like history is remembered like by people who are alive, and like without that like things get forgotten. Like, do you want to talk a bit about that? Or?
I think it slowly came up to me as well, because as I said, like initially it's about goals that try to be useful, and this usefulness, like I had a title first, a useful goals, but I'm still not sure in my first few draft that how can she be useful, because in the original legend, it's not original legend, but because the legends like was adapted into theater play first in the early 20th century, and the playwright interpreted her ghostliness by like, oh, what she could do as a ghost is like she could extend her arm longly. I don't know why. Like the scene would be like in the play would be like the husband like forgot something at the ground, so he went out the house to find something on the ground, and the wife was like cooking something in the kitchen, and she dropped a lamp fall through the crack of the floor into like, it's like a traditional Thai house that you have like a
it's like on stilts.
Yeah. It's not on the ground. The house is like built on the pillar. Yeah. So the lamp like fell through the crack and falls on the ground. And husband was looking for something else, and the wife, she didn't know that husband was outside the house, so she extended her arm to reach out to grab the alarm back. So the husband, like, that's the first time the husband was sure that his wife was dead, that he saw her like extended arm.
I see.
And if I start with this original interpretation of Ghost dead, we would have a film with the ghost extended her arm, but I could not find it useful. I don't know how it could fit into the story. And then, like, normally when Thai people say like the ghost could be useful, it would be that we had this belief that I think like it's quite common in Asian society, that we believe that ghosts can visit your dream. And in Thailand, people would expect like the member of your family, the late member of your family would visit you in your dream and give you lottery number. But I found that things so uncinematic. Like I don't want to make a film about ghosts giving lottery numbers. It's like it's not fun. It's not engaging at all. But I like the idea of like God could visit your dream, and also like why I was like writing it during the COVID years. During 2020, there's a lot of protests against military regime, because by that time we still live under military regime, and there's a report of like many activists. They were arrested, and the police somehow like check their phone, check their chat history. So they use like message on the chat history against them, like, oh, you said this, you said that, you send it to your parents, your mom or your dad, and like something like that. So that chat history is like for me, it's kind of personal.
Yeah.
So I kind of like combine this thing, like that authority try to look into something personal and try to use that against you, and also like so the ghost like visits in your dream. So they became like a surveillance agent that for the state, something like that. Like because dream is so personal, something that even you could not control your dream. It's all fantasy, it's all trauma, it's all disappointment and a lot of stuff. So I found that quite interesting. And also I was also influenced by a novel by Albanian writer. His name is Ismail Kadare. He wrote a book called The Pirates of Dream. It's set in fictional country that they have this Ministry of Dream. So people in this country, when they wake up and before they go to work, they need to go to the district and report their dream last night to the officer. And the officer that at the district will collect dream from people around the area and send them to Ministry of Dream. And another set of officer will interpret the dream, analyze the dream, and say like, oh, he could be like potential rebel or potential criminal or something like that. It's a minority report style, something like that. And I think like, oh, that's interesting that you can arrest someone based on something that's so like dream.
Something that they might do rather than something
that they actually do.
Yeah.
For something that they remember in their dream or what they think of. So yes. What's the question?
It's okay. It's very interesting. I think the point is to like have you talk about the film to give like people more context and like think about it. I want to move on to a different topic maybe. And during the Q&A, you talked a lot about how your approach to filmmaking is that you like artificiality, that you like to remind people that they're watching a film.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, no, that's usually not how I approach watching movies. So it's very interesting for me watching something that kind of
bring you in,
trying to keep you understanding that it is a movie. And of course, all movies are just movies, right?
movie,
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your approach to making the film with this in mind? Because there is like the artificial, like kind of film look to the film, as well as I guess the way that you film it, the cinematography is very like tableau staging, right?
Yeah.
Very still.
Yeah, very still.
Kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, I can't think of the filmmakers right now, but like these are very still, similar art house films.
When we were preparing in the pre-production stage, I discussed a lot with my team, with my DP, with my production designer. One of the few keywords that I use would be like, I want the film to be elegantly perverted and pervertly elegant. It should look so beautiful and it also naughty. There's something like naughty underneath it. Yeah, like it's not, because one of my goal would be like to dismantle what a good film or award-winning film should feel like, should look like. So and also like I'm also so inspired by Portuguese directors Charles César Monteiro. He make a very silly film, but very art house. So he kind of combined it. Like for example, like there's one film called Recollection of the Yellow House. In the beginning of the film is a montage of Lisbon, I think, like a river and Lisbon. So it looks like a kind of art house film, like oh, beautiful city. But and there's a voiceover of an old lady talking about the rise on her pubic hair, and it was like so funny. I mean, like there's like a two incompatible stuff like putting together, and I kind of like I was very inspired by that. I also like and I read about him like shooting his film, and sometimes like the DP composed the shot so beautifully, and he came to the set and sabotaged the shot. Like it's too beautiful, it's too cinematic, and I kind of like that. So, and also like inspired by this idea of like naive art, like the school of art that mostly artists in this school, like they are very skillful. They know how to like draw or paint realistically, but they instead choose to paint like a child.
I see.
Yeah, and I think that's my main approach to film. Yeah, I want you to look like skillful, but instead of like making it like a pro, I make it like a child. Yeah, so there's like a lot of choice that. Yeah, I make it like, oh, it's like I play with image.
I think something that I take away is that sometimes the film looks serious, but the thing that is happening is not so serious.
Something
or
like
sometimes it's the opposite. It doesn't look so serious, but then the thing itself is serious. Because we talked about like pretty major political things, but then sometimes it's like, oh, there's a vacuum cleaner here. I think that's something that I think is surprising people, and I think something that it sticks with people because of that dissonance, I guess. Like the difference between like the serious and the not serious.
I always like to blend like seriousness and silliness together, and also like, and I think like back to Montero, I think like the way that he sabotaged or to make it uncinematic is not like accidental. He did it by using other medium. Like he make a film look theatrical and painterly instead. Like instead of making like a film, he composed his actor like a theatrical. So that's my explain that my choice for make it double. Like like still standing posing where they don't move much, something like that.
I think like for me, like a question I have is that because I usually when I watch movies I'm looking for quite emotional experience, and so like usually tableau staging and sometimes a more subdued performance is like something that's like less emotional. Do you think that makes it difficult for some people to access the film?
Of course. Like if I chose another way, it might be more accessible, but since I chose this path, so it's kind of divide some audience. So, but is
this how you think you'll always be looking to make your films, like this style? This intention?
I think it's still something I like to explore. This artificiality, this subtle acting, deadpan performance. But I'm not sure. I mean, like I experimented with this kind of acting for my just my last short film and this one. My earlier short films, like it's more like a melodrama kind of acting that I kind of Thai soapy that I grew up with. And also the same, it would be like, I think the similarity would be like, oh, I don't like lyricism and I like artificiality. So, but this one is like, I experimented with subdued deadpan acting. The earlier short film would be like, oh, I experimented with soapy, melodramatic, excessive acting,
which is also artificial.
Artificial as well. I just like artificiality.
There was something you said in your Q&A about how you were inspired by poetry in terms of like trying to create roles with your film. Something that you mentioned was how like all the ghostly figures had dyed hair, which kind of separated them from the non-ghostly figures, which you might not think of, but after a while you realize that that's true. Are there other rules that you added to the film in the way that you constructed the world in this film?
You mean the hair of the ghost? Or...
Aside from the hair, it's like other rules that you created to like kind of create this artificial world.
There's no cell phone.
Oh yeah, true.
There's no cell phone. I want the film to feel timeless in a way. But somehow it's so inconsistent about technologies in the film. Like they have computer, but the old version, like the big, the thick screen. But no one used cell phones in the film, and also like they had this laboratory, like electrocution room that looks so sci-fi-ish. But I think like there's no cell phone to make it less realistic. I
want to very quickly talk about some of the editing choices. Because the first thing that I noticed, which was like the first cut, was a dissolve, right? And then you do a kind of dissolve wipe. which is very unusual for most modern films, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, when you do your dream sequences, you do your little circle wipe or circle zoom in or something like that. Yeah. Can you talk more about the choices within the editing?
Oh, it's an old film for old film technique. I like old film technique. I like silent film technique. Even the music, I kind of like. I think one of the reference would be like a silent film piano. Yeah, and I like old film technique. I don't know, like it's so playful. It doesn't hide. It's always revealed. It's being filmness of it. Yeah, so I think I like playfulness in the film. So this sort of why or this iris. How you call it?
I don't know. It's like an iris wipe or something.
Yeah, something like that. That's the choice because like not many films nowadays like use them, and yeah, I just use them for I don't know. It gives you certain sense that you cannot find in other techniques. Yeah.
All right, I want to actually talk maybe more specifically about some parts of the film.
Yeah.
Something interesting that going into it was that I knew that this film was about the vacuum cleaner, but you don't begin with, I guess you could say, your main character, which is Devika Hone playing this main ghost. You have this frame story, which somebody asked during the Q&A.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because you talked about how the frame story came later to kind of help you figure out how the story would end. And I found it interesting, at least like from watching it, that it kind of says something about that core couple, right? Because we talked about the queer reading of it. Then kind of something that I felt from it was that frame story is about this guy who calls himself an academic ladyboy, and then like he kind of begins having a sort of romantic relationship with this male ghost, right? So that's like really interesting. But then in a way they start fighting against the story within the story, right? Which is a story that the repairman is telling him, and I don't know, like it was really interesting because in a way that main couple, yes, it's a ghost and a human, but it's also like a straight couple. So in a way they kind of represent some kind of establishment. And then because the ghost assimilates, and then she chooses to fight the other ghosts, and then that's kind of what leads to your ending. Was it very deliberate in like kind of framing it in this way with this like academic ladyboy and like?
I think before the final draft, like I had many options how they interact. Yeah, so it's not from the beginning that how the story gonna end. Like I think some draft they collaborate, sometimes they fight each other, sometimes they meet each other. In some draft they don't meet at all. Yeah, so I think like the journey is so long. I kind of try to recall like what choice did I left out. Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't in the beginning that I'm gonna end the film in this version. Yeah. In that sense.
I mean, I don't mind spoiling the ending now. I'll put a warning somewhere. Because you ended the film in a violent way where they fight the minister and the ghosts all kind of come together.
Revenge.
And they don't even have to possess appliances at this point. They decide to like fight together. Like, how did you know this was the right ending for you?
So this is a spoiler, but before the final draft, I used to have like a more sadder ending version that everyone like, oh, the ghost disappear, Nat disappear, ghost forgotten, and the minister and all the people in VIP like they prosper and live on peacefully or something like that. And I had this version. I thought like it's gonna be the ending, like it's gonna be the one that we're gonna shoot it. And then I discussed this with my friends or some other people, and then like I just realized that in real life, these people responsible for disappearance or deaths of a lot of people, like they don't need to pay for their wrongdoing. They don't go to jail. And most of them die of old age. They die in their 80s, in 90, live peacefully with their grandchildren, something like that. And I feel like, oh, how can we cannot imagine otherwise from reality? Why to make a decent film, you need to be realistic. I mean, like you need to stick with the reality. So I feel like I always think that this ending is quite an ethical choice for me to think otherwise or to imagine other way. Yeah. So even though it's kind of like, how to say, like it's not serious, like all this revenge from the ghost, and I got criticism a lot from that ending. Like it's kind of divisive as well. Some people find it very satisfying. Some people find it like kind of like out of place. Like it doesn't blend well with other parts of the film. But I still think like maybe that's the whole point because like we can't imagine otherwise. Yeah, and sometimes like imagination doesn't sit well with reality. Yeah, but still like in the end we still have a few seconds of like ambiguity whether is it actually happened or it's just a dream of the housemaid or something like that. Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
I mean, I think from a watching the film standpoint, it at least gives you a satisfying end. Because sometimes films like that, when they end sadly, it's like, damn, that sucks. You like walk out the theater like, oh, life is the same. And I guess life is still the same even after watching that, but maybe it gives you some satisfaction. But I can see, like, some people, the criticism of endings like this is that it's like wish fulfillment. But the real world still sucks. Right? Which I totally understand that criticism as well. And it's very much a taste kind of thing. I honestly don't know where I land on that. Sometimes I change my mind on these things all the time. I think at the very least, it gives you a sort of cinematic satisfaction for the moment. And something I think interesting is that it kind of puts this main character of Nat like she kind of joins the wrong side, right? And I really think that already gives the film some nuance, right? Because she is, in a way, she becomes the villain, right? Like she turns and then she becomes the villain, which is not something you might expect going into the film. Especially when we're trying to position her as a victim at the start, right? Then it's like, oh, now she's crossing aside, and that's also something quite realistic in terms of, I mean, obviously her being a ghost is not realistic, but in terms of political things, like a lot of people do switch sides when they're promised something that they want, right? In this case, it's like baby, but usually it's like power or money, then like very easily people get turned, right, against themselves, which, like, even though yes, it's quite silly in your film, but I think it's there to kind of like to be seen.
I think it's kind of quite the truth in Thailand, actually, because I'm come from like Thai Chinese family, and I think that's the reality of Thai Chinese minority. It's not, we keep saying it's minority, but I think Thai Chinese like millions. There's a million of them, and when they came to the country, they are marginalized. They were oppressed, but somehow like when they gained their footing in the society and they became part of the establishment. So to be part of them, they need to change from victim to victimizer, something like that. So I kind of feel like that's how a lot of like minority peoples in Thailand need to do to survive. You need to blend in with the establishment.
We've kind of talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else? Actually, no, I had a question, which is a sillier question. So here you have a vacuum cleaner. Were there other appliances that you considered for her?
Of course. Normally I would say like vacuum cleaner is easier to shoot with than washing machine. At least vacuum cleaner has wheel, so it could move easily. And while other appliances like, they don't normally come with wheels, like TV, no. But it kind of makes sense because she died of dust pollution. So if she returns, she should be in vacuum cleaner. But there's one incident that I found very amusing when we were preparing the shoot. At the location, the house of Dr. Paul was in like outside Bangkok, like 2 hours drive, and it was like it's owned by like a rich foreign engineer. I don't remember his ethnicity or nationality, but we had a hard time finding the place to shoot because if we went to like some other rich people's house and they was like, what's the story about? There's a ghost, there's a nudity. No, I don't want ghosts killing in my house, something like that. But this, I think it's German, like German guy, he didn't care. You can have like a killing and ghost in my house, something like that. So when we were like exploring the place, I walk into the toilet and suddenly like the toilet itself like open it. And I think it speak or something like that, hello or something like that. I was like, interesting. I could have, I had this scenario of a ghost possessing this like electrical toilet, but it wouldn't be very difficult to make a film about out of it.
Because it cannot move.
It cannot move. And the whole film would be stuck in this room, in the washroom.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. This was a very fun conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for film. Congrats on the film as well.
Thank you so much.
Good luck for, I don't know, they're going to announce the best feature film later. I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't seen all of them. I can't judge. Would you like to talk about anything that you're working on or like you're looking forward to?
I don't know, because I know that making a film takes so long time. The first shooting day, I walk into the set and feel like, how long did it take for me to get to this day, the first shooting day? How many films can a person make in a lifetime? If I happen to make another film, like I hope it would be like it would take less time. So I'm thinking of like for my second feature already. But I'm still traveling with the film, so it's quite difficult for me to sit down and write something. But I want to make like an adventure film. And I hope it could be made in less time, maybe 2-3 years.
Usually it's like you speed up, right? People speed up as they get into their career.
I hope so too. I hope it gets easier.
I mean, I don't know if it will get easier, but maybe faster.
Maybe faster.
Right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. Do check out Yusuf Goes if you're able to see it in theaters. Once again, thank you to Ratchapoom Boonbunchachoke for his time and to Momo Film Co and the SGIFF team for helping us to coordinate the interview. Thank you for listening on Deep Cut. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. A great way to support us is to leave a review or comment on our episodes directly on Spotify. If you want to chat with us and other fans of Deep Cut, come join our Discord server where we talk about movies, TV, music, and share what we're up to. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us with a monthly subscription. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters, and a very special thanks to our Patreon Deep Cut Pick supporters, Leah Lai and Nicholas Gao. You can keep up with Deep Cut on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X at Deep Cut Pod. Click the link in our description or go to deepcutpod.com to find links to everything we mentioned here. Deep Cut is hosted and produced by us, Wilson Lai, Benjamin Yap, and Eli Sands. Our cover art is designed by Jacinia Yam, and our theme song is composed by Eli Sands. I'm Ben. Take care, and we're looking forward to talking about more movies with you next time.